Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Rook, and he's in the Minnesota, a tier 9 US premium battleship. He's on the map Haven in the 4-point domination game. It's a tier 9 battle. The enemy team already lost their Kagero, which is nice, I suppose. There's no carrier, which is also nice. So yeah. Now, when you think about the Minnesota, the last thing you'd imagine is Brawling, but well, Rook sees that a little bit different, right? So he's on his way towards the B cap, and well, I mean, you know, it's a Minnesota. It's gonna take him a while to get, but once he arrives, it will just be glorious. And I mean, I guess I spoiled a little bit there already, but this replay was just a lot of fun to watch, because it's not usually what you see Minnesota do or what you'd expect from. There's an archery that's broadside, obviously at 20.5 kilometers. Expectations are somewhat low, I guess. But we will see, you know. Now, there are two Friedrich der Großes from the enemy coming this way, and obviously the Friedrich der Große is a Brawling battleship. And you know, you'd expect those two enemy battleships to meet a Minnesota's charge and be very happy about this. But well, I guess we will find out if that's what they do. Now, we do have some friendly ships here, and Rook is creating somewhat a crossfire with the Alsace and the Iowa. Unfortunately, the Iowa is already sailing away, which is a bit of a shame. Now, there is an enemy destroyer, but currently outside of torpedo range, so that should be fine. The other destroyer here was sunk earlier. So yeah, so basically he's charging to Friedrichs, and oh, there is a Seattle. I mean, if the Seattle is not angling very well there, then it would also be good. The one Friedrich has already eaten some torpedoes. At least you know the Alsace is sorta coming in, the Tone is... well, I mean, it's a Tone, right? It's okay if he's just kiting around. The concerning thing is, yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, that Iowa is pretty heavy. Oh, I just looked away when there was a Citadel. Well, that's alright. So far, Rook is doing pretty well there. Once again, he's trying for the archery because it's just such a nice broadside. Now, he's getting shot a little bit from the left, which is a shame. And we see very little spotted on the left side. That's because the friendlies are all behind islands there. Now, the Whiskavicher is back, and it's now definitely in torpedo range. So, Rook is slowing down here. And Briska is now probably turning for the torp launch, I would presume. Oh, he almost got it. Not quite. So the problem is also the Friedrich here. He has to angle against that as well. And oh, there is a close quarters. Nice. So I think he decided here to speed up and just hope that this island blocks potential torps, if that Briska would have launched torps there with his dying breath. Not something you'd hear often, he's speeding up in a Minnesota. But it worked! He was fast enough, definitely. He also conveniently placed the island between himself and the other Friedrich to ensure that his side is protected. So far, pretty well done. And, well, that was I think, a high explosive salvo, so he had high explosive loaded against the destroyer, I suppose. And I mean, you know, with that reload, you just shoot whatever is loaded, right? You don't go for an ammunition switch. Now, this Friedrich is running away. I mean, you know, if you're in a Friedrich der Große and Minnesota is coming for you, obviously you're running away, I mean. Look at how far that Iowa already made it. That's just a shame, isn't it? So this push so far is working pretty well. Part of the reason why it's working so well is, right, he had support from his team. He had the Alsace that kept up the crossfire, and he had friendly torpedoes coming from, I think, the Kagero and the Mahan. So, you know, for once, like, this is one of the situations where you see an opportunity to push in, you push in, and your team isn't just running away, but it's actually supporting you. And it was... it was a fun roll so far. I mean, he isn't done yet, right? Now, next up we have a Seattle. Seattle might be trying to angle. Not that it would matter that much for Seattle, I suppose. Okay. He's considering shooting the archery instead. I mean, you know, with that reload, you really gotta, I guess, decide when and where to shoot. Good salvo there. As I said, I mean, a Seattle angling it's not, doesn't really have armor. Meanwhile, this battle looks pretty well. Like, the friendlies are only one ship ahead. It's just that they are cap-wise and points-wise pretty ahead.
The ship is on fire.
Look at that. The Iowa that was here to support Rook's push is now the furthest ship in the north by now. Well, a good thing that, you know, some other ships stuck around. Now that archery looks like it's gonna go for a torp run. Well, it looks like it also torped earlier, I guess. Now, French torps aren't the most dangerous there, so... yeah, Rook's just going through the nose because it doesn't look like the archery wanted to earn too much.
Enemy cruiser foundered.
So that's one problem dealt with. Now it's just a Seattle. So he's currently healing, but his damage con is now on cooldown, which means if that Seattle gets a fire or two, he'd be in real trouble. Also, he doesn't have any support. Well, I mean, there is the Kagero, but the Kagero isn't gonna help with guns against the Seattle, and the Seattle is too far away to torpedo, right? So basically, the battleship he had with him has been destroyed already. And the Toner has decided to reinforce the sea. Yeah.
Victory is in sight.
So, oh, is that Seattle gonna go for the Sunwall? So if there is the fire, I mean, at least it's only one, I guess. And we now saw one of the downsides of a Minnesota with the long reload, right? If your shells miss, it's gonna take you a long time to try again. So you're a little bit more on the mercy of RNG. Like, the faster you shoot, if one salvo has bad dispersion, you know, you just shoot again and eventually you it's a high likelihood that you won't be screwed so hard. Now, if you have to deal with a zone wall surfer with a Minnesota's guns, it's probably not so great. Now, well, that was a pretty good salvo though. And that was a very good salvo. Now, he's on fire. This is gonna be a close one. Oh yeah, damage con got ready again. So he's still alive, and he still even has a heal left. Now comes the other problem with a Minnesota. He has to get back into the fight with a top speed of what, like 22 knots? I think we increased the speed a little bit here.
Problem solved, sir.
Yeah. His ship can't go very fast, but the replay can definitely go fast. Oh, he has actually fired at something. Yeah, it's... Oh, and he got 2 ricochets. So... it does have the range, I guess. Although, you know, I mean, we can take a look here. Yeah, okay. Got a little bit of damaging. Now, I mean, Minnesota is technically more designed for long-range combat, so I guess he isn't really out of his net here. But... I mean... At this range, it's just not gonna be very exciting. So, you know, this game looked a little bit more won a few moments ago, I feel like, but honestly, ship-wise, the enemy are catching up, but points-wise, like, it's still rather firmly in the friendlies' hand. Now, one of the biggest advantages the friendlies have are destroyers, right? As you might a domination game. Yeah, let's give it a speed again. In a domination game, obviously destroyers that take camps are very important. And the enemy is kinda lacking those. So they will have a hard time of stopping the friendlies from just, you know, winning this on points. Now, there is an Edinburgh trying to take B, that's a little bit ahead from the Horde. Obviously, it's the Edinburgh in the front and the 3 remaining battleships in the back, as is so common these days. Now, Rook is trying for a blind shot in there, but Not sure exactly where the Edinburgh is right now. He might just be tucked in behind this island. There are also some torps coming into there, so maybe a destroyer gets lucky. Now, meanwhile, Rook is fearlessly charging the last 3 battleships. I mean, obviously his plan is to get rid of this Edinburgh, and I think that part of the plan is probably going to work out. And there we go. That's one more cap defended, and there is a Kraken unleashed, and that's probably the last he's gonna do in this fight, because I don't think he'll survive long enough for a reload. he's holding on there with 90 hit points. Thankfully, Massachusetts second arrays are way too bad, probably to sink him. Oh no, wait, they are not. Me and my big mouth there. So anyway, he's managed to get a Kraken Brawling in a Massachusetts. Isn't that nice? And now, I guess we will have to...
In 5 minutes.
I remember the good old times when you had reasonable camera controls in this whole thing here. Wasn't that nice when you actually could, like, you know, when I could give you like a better overview of what's gonna happen. But you know, the thing is, oh, the camera does things that I don't even like. You see, I've technically unlocked the camera, but the camera doesn't care. So camera in this game, in replay, like basically Wargaming is working on making the replay system worse and worse with every patch. But it still somewhat works, I guess. Anyway, so the friendlies at 918. The friendlies are basically having a lot of points. The mines here, yeah, the camera does things that I can't stop, sorry. The mines here is just going away, the destroyer is just torpedoing. The friendlies are just gonna reach 1,000 points. Those guys know what to do. They're not going to risk anything. And this is a win. So here we are with the results, and Rook earned himself 1,967 base experience. Nicely done, very nicely done. And this was just such a joy to watch. Minnesota is really not what you'd expect in the front lines, and it just shows that, you know, even something that might not be designed primarily for brawling can brawl in this game, if the situation is right. Rook achieved a close quarters expert with 16 secondary hits. Good job there. And he unleashed the Kraken. So I hope you guys were amused by this as well. And, well, I see you next time.